Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Antarar Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai. All of you can sit on this side. Sit on this side. The Bhagavad Gita class is happening. You can all sit on this side. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today reading from Srimad Bhagavad as it is, commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, founder, Child, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Text number 8. Eight and 9. So it's quite a long Sanskrit. I'll go through it myself, then translation and purport. Nava kachit karamo iti yukta manya tatravit pasyan sarvan sivan jagran asnan kricha swartat swarnasan palayan visayan granan umasan nimasan api indriya keshu vartat iti dvarayam. A person in a divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with the objects, that he is aloof from them. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon the five immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving, transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, senses are engaged in satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities of such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, and whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc., are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servant of the Lord. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksu Militamena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapino Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dudati Sapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayani Visheshwanivadi Paschat Satarine. So, in modern day education, people are taught to respect state laws. They know that if they disobey state laws, they'll be punished. But unfortunately, the modern leaders, they don't educate people in God's laws. They actually minimize God's laws. But when one talks about laws of nature, nature means someone's nature, so God's nature. So laws of nature are very strict. So if you put your hand in fire, even if you're a child, you get burnt. The child will not excuse you, saying that you're just a child. Or if someone overeats, he may have to fast for 3 days. So like that, we can see how the laws of nature are very strict in that way. So because modern education is based on academic education, Prabhupada comments in the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, he says, perfect understanding comes from hearing from a self-realized soul. And one can remain transcendental by reading scriptures. But one gets bewildered by academic education because it's based on 4 defects. Every living entity has 4 defects: a tendency to cheat, make mistakes, be illusioned, imperfect senses. So, being illusioned, someone is thinking, I am the body. You can ask any rich person, anyone, that, who are you? He may say, I'm Mr. John, I am doing this work, this is my family. But actually, he's not the body, he's spirit soul. So that's the first mistake, to understand you're the body. Making mistakes, A teacher may be teaching in college or university, school, but in modern education, the teacher is not recognized for his spiritual qualification. He has to just go by the modern leaders, what they give them. Nowadays it's so bad that even the teachers cannot even correct the children. Like they can't. Previous times they could correct them by giving them a cane or correcting them physically. This is but in Vedic education, the spiritual master or the devotee was known for his spiritual advancement, and by his personal living the life of the purity, he would have an effect on the other person to help him uplift himself. Because the whole understanding is that everyone has to go to connect to Krishna. Example is given just like people say sunshine, they don't say shine. So our connection to Krishna is very close. But because we have come to the material world, we at some point in our being in the spiritual world, we turn away from Krishna. And we wanted to be enjoying like Krishna. So Krishna is full of 6 opulences: wealth, fame, knowledge, beauty, renunciation. So a living entity in this world can have one of these opulences, but he cannot have all 6 opulences at one time. So when the living entity is in the spiritual world, he's with Krishna, at some point he's thinking, why should Krishna be the center? I want to be the center. So Krishna, being very kind, he tells the living entity, if you want to become like me, you go to the material world and you try and be like me. So when the living entity comes to the material world, this is in a purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 3:20, 3rd canto, chapter 20, text 20 something. Yeah. So Prabhupada gives a whole purport to this. He says, first of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance of the conditioned souls. They are 5 in number and they are called Tamisra, Anda Tamisra, Tamisra, Moha and Mahamoha. The conditioned souls or living entities who come to the material world to enjoy sense gratification are covered in the beginning by 5 different conditions. The first condition is covering of Tamisra or anger. Constitutionally, each and every living entity has a minute independence. It is misuse of that minute independence for the conditioned soul to think that he can also enjoy like the Supreme Lord, or to think, why shall I not be free to enjoy like the Supreme Lord? This forgetfulness of his constitutional position is due to anger or envy. The living entity, being eternally a part and parcel servant of the Supreme Lord, can never be by constitution be equally enjoy with the Lord. When he forgets this, however, and tries to be one with him, his condition is called Tamisra. Even in the field of spiritual realization, this Tamishra mentality of the living entity is hard to overcome. In trying to get out of this entanglement of the material life, there are many who want to be one with the Supreme. Even in their transcendental activities, this lower grade of mentality, Tamishra, continues. Under Tamishra involves considering death to be the ultimate end. The atheists generally think that the body is a self and that everything is therefore ended with the end of the body. Thus they want to enjoy material life as far as possible during the existence of the body. Their theory is, as long as you live, you should live prosperously. Never mind whether you commit all kinds of so-called sins. You must eat sumptuously, beg, borrow, and steal. And if you think that by stealing, borrowing, you can be entangled in sinful activities for which you will have to pay, then just forget that misconception, because after death, everything is finished. No one is responsible for anything he does during his life. This atheistic conception of life is killing human civilization, for it is without knowledge of the constitution of eternal life. This under Tamishra ignorance is due to tamas. The condition of not knowing anything about the spirit soul is called tamas. This material world is also generally called tamas because 99% of living entities are ignorant of their identity as souls. Almost everyone is thinking that he is the body. He has no information of the spirit soul. Guided by this misconception, one always thinks, this is my body, and anything in relation to this with this body is mine. For such misguided living entities, sex is the background of material existence. Actually, the conditioned soul in ignorance in this material world are simply guided by sex, and as soon as they get opportunity for sex life, they become attached to so-called home, motherland, children, and wealth and opulence. All these attachments increase moha or illusion of the bodily conception of life, or the bodily concept of life also increases. Thus the idea that I am this body and everything belongs to this body is mine also increases, and as the whole world is put into moha, sectarian societies, families and nationalities are created and they fight with one another. Moha means to be mad after material enjoyment. Especially in this age of Kali, everyone is overwhelmed by the madness to accumulate paraphernalia for material enjoyment. So we can see from this how just accepting that we are the body is the cause of ignorance. So Prabhupada said in many of his lectures, he mentions how spiritual life begins when you understand you are not the body. That's the beginning of spiritual life. So, for those who have accepted who is Krishna and surrendering to Krishna, understanding your own the body becomes easy. Because you have some goal to go for. Those who accept, they don't accept Krishna as a person, but they see him as energy. For them, it's much harder because Krishna has different aspects to his personality. So, he said, Brahmati Kon Bhagwan Ji, Guru Krishna. The example of the sun is given. Just like the sun got three aspects: the sun god, the sun planet, and the sunshine. So the sun God is compared to Krishna in his personal aspect. The sun planet is compared to the Paramatma feature. Krishna is in everyone's heart as a witness. And the sunshine is compared to his Brahman effulgence. So those who accept him as energy, they attain the Brahman effulgence. But achieving that, one will not achieve happiness. Because as living entities, we are Sachid Ananda. We are pleasure seeking. And in the Brahman, you don't get that pleasure seeking nature. You're just there by yourself. And Srila Prabhupada gives an example. He says, just like if someone gave you a nice house with everything in it, but the condition is you're by yourself, who would accept? No one will accept. Because we are sentient beings. We like to be with other people. So, surrendering to Krishna as a person, the reciprocation comes. And in this way you can achieve the full happiness. In the Nectar Devotion in Dwarka, there was one person, he was like an impersonalist. He prayed to Krishna that he was seeing Krishna every day. And he prayed, he came to the conclusion that I'm meditating on this Brahman, but it's not giving me real happiness. When I see Krishna walking down, I feel the real happiness. So that's an example to show how accepting Krishna as a person is the way to achieve that real happiness. And for those who approach like that, then these 5 factors don't have any effect. There is time, there is jiva, the karma, time, karma, yeah. So he says these 5 factors, kala is time, karma, jiva, God, one more time, and nature, prakriti. So so out of these 5, the karma can change. Thus, having knowledge through spiritual education, one can change one's karma. But the difficulty with the living entities in the material world is they are trying to enjoy eternal happiness through matter. They're trying to enjoy the eternal happiness which is there in the spiritual world through matter. And because they don't achieve that in the material world, because in this body, everything is temporary. You have to give up this body at some point. Even you have your family, your opulence, at some point you have to give it up. You can't hold on to it. Because everything is based on karma. But having a relationship with Krishna, because Krishna is eternal, His associates are eternal, having that relationship, it always continues. You can all sit on this side. It's better, you know. So, Prabhupada said in one of his lectures how people think in family life that my parents will protect me, my relations will protect me, my friends will protect me. They build up all these relationships. But actually, everyone's creating their own destiny because everyone's doing their own different karma. Because everyone's covered by the 3 modes of nature, goodness, passion, ignorance. And everyone's affected by the 3 kinds of miseries, body and mind, other living entities, natural disturbances. So, with these things, having relation with these things, is like embracing the modes of nature. But that won't give you real happiness. That will bind you to the material world more. So, but the real happiness comes when you accept Krishna as a lover, as a friend, as a master, like that. You accept Krishna in these relationships, as a son. So Prabhupada said in one of his lectures, he said, accepting Krishna as a son is higher than accepting him as a father. Because from the father you demand so many things. From the son you have to serve him all the time, look after him. So that's a higher relationship because you're always thinking about serving Krishna all the time. So if one establishes his relationship with Krishna, then that Krishna is always there for that person. He's always there to help that person come back to him. There was one of Lord Chaitanya's associates. He was with Lord Chaitanya for a long time. And the Lord Chaitanya was known for his renunciation, that he wouldn't accumulate things. He would just accept things on the same day. So this servant, Govinda Ghosh, he became Govinda Ghosh later, but yeah, he got some haritaki. And he got a few extra ones for the next day. So he got it quickly, he gave it to Lord Chaitanya the next day, and Lord Chaitanya asked, where did you get it so quickly from? He said, I saved it from the previous day. Lord Chaitanya said, you have a mentality of accumulating. You have to get married now. So Lord Chaitanya, he was in separation. He said, how can I live in your separation? So he said, so Lord Chaitanya carved me a deity of Krishna, Gopinath deity. And then he got married, he had children. But then it so happened that the children were coming in his way of his deity worship. And somehow it happened, the wife died and the children died, something happened. So he didn't come to serve the Gopinath deity in the morning. He didn't do the puja in the morning. He didn't come in the afternoon. So this shows how deity is not even from Krishna. So Gopinath came to him and asked him, Jai Shishi Radha Goknanda ki jai. The Gopinath deity came and asked him, why have you come and not done my puja in the morning and the afternoon? So Govinda Ghosh said that I had a son to do my Shraddha ceremony at the time of my death. So who's going to do that now? So Gopinath said, I'll do it for you. So from this pastime you can see how ultimately, because he accepted Krishna as his ultimate shelter, Krishna said, I'll do your Shraddha ceremony. So this happened 500 years back. So that deity is still there in Mayapur somewhere. And every year many people come and do this celebration of this Govinda Ghosh. And this Gopinath, they bring the Gopinath deity, and that festival is still happening. So that shows that if you accept Krishna as your shelter, then everything works out for you. So the problem with modern day education and technology is, Prabhupada explained in his lectures how they're building so many hotels and these kind of things they're building. But in previous times, the temples were the main things where people used to go to. You go to the temple, you get Krishna Prasad. Simple. By eating Krishna Prasad, you feel satisfied. But now they built all these hotels and like this to divert people away from spiritual life. So we have to learn the spiritual culture, and then it'll be easier to understand how we are not the body, and you associate with those who are practicing spiritual life. And by serving those who are free from lust, you become free from lust. The material world is contaminated place. So in previous yugas, Dwapara, Treta and Sati, there was contamination, but it wasn't so much. People were more spiritually inclined, more the goodness is more prominent. But in the Kali Yuga, which is a place of core and hypocrisy, there's more prominence of irreligion. But apparently this particular Kali Yuga is known as Maha Kali Yuga, because Lord Chaitanya came. And it's explained how Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya only come in one day of Brahma. The one day of Brahma is 4 yugas, which is the Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years. We are past 5,000 years. The Dwapara Yuga lasts 464,000 years. The Treta Yuga lasts 1,296,000 years. And the Sati Yuga lasts 1,728,000 years. So you multiply these 4 yugas 1,000 times, it comes to one day of Brahma. It comes to 4.23 billion years of earthly time. The Lord Krishna is coming and Lord Chaitanya is coming only once in that time. When Lord Chaitanya comes, he gives special mercy out to everybody without discrimination. So in previous Kali Yugas, for people to get mercy, there would have to be some qualification. But here, Lord Chaitanya is giving it to everybody. So Srila Prabhupada says in his teaching of King Kunti lectures, he explains how he explains this point. He says there's sometimes those who have undertaken strict vow of tapasya will ignite a fire ring all around themselves, and in the scorching heat of the sun in the summer, they will sit down in the midst of that fire and meditate. Similarly, in the chilly cold of winter, they will immerse themselves in water up to the neck and meditate. Such vows are prescribed in the strict systems of tapasya, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not give us such prescription. He gives us a very nice program: chant, dance and take prasadam. But still we are so unwilling, we are so fallen that we cannot accept this tapasya. Although this kind of tapasya is very easy to perform and very pleasant, still we are not agreeable. We may even prefer to rot in the street. Some people prefer to drink and have sex and live in the street. So what can be done? The Krishna consciousness movement is giving all facilities so that people can hear, chant and live very peacefully. Take Krishna Prasad and be happy. The people will not accept it. That is called misfortune. So Lord Chaitanya, to show this, shows by his example, he says, I am so unfortunate, I have no taste for chanting holy name. So any comments or questions? Okay, I'll give one last story. tell the story. Prabhupada has an interesting story. There was one boy, his mother was poor. In Vedic culture, when they used to go to school, the teacher used to ask for dakshin. So all the children gave dakshin, but this boy couldn't give much dakshin. He was poor family. So he went to his mother and said, "What can I give to the teacher?" So the boy, the mother said, "You pray to Gopal." So the boy asked the mother, "Where's Gopal?" So she said, "He's in the forest." So he was going in the forest and said, "Gopal, Gopal, where are you?" So Krishna appeared to him. So, "What's your problem?" He said, "This is my problem. That I can't give a dakshin to the teacher. Everyone's given, but I can't give. My mother's poor." So Krishna said, "Okay, I'll give you a pot of yogurt, little cup of yogurt, and you give that to the teacher." So the boy took the cup of yogurt, he gave it to the teacher, and the teacher said, "What's this small yogurt? How is he going to feed the thousands of children?" So he threw it on the floor. But the yogurt cup it filled up with yogurt again. So the teacher was surprised. This is a special cup. So I said, "Who gave you this?" "My friend Gopal." So then the teacher asked the boy, "Show me this Gopal." So he took him to the forest, but Gopal didn't come that time. Because the teachers and the other boys, they were too intellectual. They had no bhakti. So you need bhakti to attack Krishna. That's what Krishna is looking for, your bhakti. So Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated. So we have to practice to spiritual well-being follows material well-being. People get it the other way around. They think we do our material well-being first, spiritual life comes late in old age. It doesn't work like that. In Kali Yuga, everything's upside down. With the present things happening in the world situation, now is a time where one has to come and take to Krishna consciousness more, because this will save one from the repetition of birth and death. Other things will not save you. So it says the devotees, whether they're single or married, they benefit the world. Non-devotees, whether they're single or married, they're just dead bodies moving around. So we have to learn to make the devotees are like our family members and learn from them how to take to Krishna consciousness. Because they will help us connect to Krishna, who's our real well-wisher. Modern day leaders, they have no interest in God. There's one lecture I heard Prabhupada was saying, how even the scientists, they made a committee amongst themselves saying that if anyone speaks about God, they cannot be part of this committee. So, if one is sincere, then Krishna will guide one towards him. But if someone wants to forget Krishna, then Krishna will also make arrangement. So human form of life, we have this special opportunity to become self-realized. actually in previous times, even to achieve this perfection took a long, long time. But because of Lord Chaitanya's coming, He's giving it to everyone very easy. And the example can be given just like a multi-millionaire. If he wants to make you a millionaire, he can make you a millionaire. The Lord Chaitanya is giving everyone the wealth of becoming millionaires. He's telling everyone, take to this chanting. But Prabhupada said there was a cartoon program. The wife was asking the man, chant, chant, chant. And the man is saying, can't, can't, can't. So this is our problem. The Krishna conscious movement is going forward. And Prabhupada said in one lecture, he said, people can see around them that the Krishna conscious movement is growing. They can see people are taking to it. And they see the changes are happening in them. But one cannot accept how it is spreading. And Prabhupada said, people are just like animals then. They can't see how it's changing people's lives. So, any questions? Jai Antaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.
going to get you some loss. When after the orchid comes with the tree, there's the cherry tree.
नहीं नहीं मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, हमसे ना हो पाएगा।
We're gonna sing the Gaura Aarti. It is written here, so if you would like to join me. Jayo, Jayo.